Hello and welcome to another video. In this one I have my face here, so let me know what you think about it. But anyways, we're going straight to the front line in Bakhmut because that is where all the things are happening. So looking at the front line, we can see that there are three territorial changes here by the citadel area. First off, in the northwest, which is what the title is going to be about, and that is this part right here. We see that the Russian forces have managed to break through the final defensive line of the Ukrainian forces here in the front line. So we see they have broken through, they have advanced through it, they have gone through. There is still the northern parts, however this is the most important part because it is adjacent to the Bakhmut Children's Hospital. Why is that the important part? Because the Bakhmut Children's Hospital is adjacent to this road right here, we can see right here. This road is the main supply route in and out of the citadel area from the west. The other areas is here to the south, where they have to go through these fields to go into the area, or they have to just drive through the fields here to the south. So the only road is this one. And then if they manage to take the Bakhmut Children's Hospital, then they can advance westwards and cut off the main road here, leaving only the fields, and if then rain comes and returns and it gets muddy again, it will be completely cut off. And then capturing this part would allow them to essentially advance in every direction, going northwards towards Romove, going westwards towards Ivanivske, and going southwards towards the south of the citadel area and completely encircling it. At the same time, the final defensive line here to the southwest is this areas here, some residential outbuildings, and that's about it. Then we also have the areas here. So there's not a lot of heavy defensive positions, it's mostly just small residential buildings. And then if we look at the citadel area itself, to the east we see a advance here. This block here has been mostly captured by the Wagner forces. And then if we look at this one here, it's been completely captured. The building in the middle has been captured, and fighting continues in the rest of the areas, making all of it a gray zone. Then we have some video evidence that block 162 is held by Wagner forces. That is if we look at Telegram right here. Alright, so if you look at this picture or video right here of drone footage from pro-Ukrainian sources, we can see this building here. I'll show you where it is later. But for right now, we see that there's a building here and there's a square area, and then there's high-rise buildings all around it forming a square, and this building separate from this square standing on its own. So we see here that Ukrainian forces claim they are attacking Wagner positions within this building. So that means the Wagner forces hold this building. And most likely, if they hold this building, then the nearby buildings are also under Wagner control, but let's just keep it at this specific building right here. Now, if we compare this building to this building right here, we can see a square of high-rise buildings forming a square, and then a Wagner building, or the building 162 could be it. We see here to the north, it is hard to tell, but essentially there's some small buildings right here, straight south of it. And if we look right here, smaller buildings, not high-rise buildings, straight south of it. So essentially we can determine this is most likely the building, and Wagner has control of it, which means that they have control of this area. And then finally we have this part here to the northwest. We see this is the latest update. According to Remy as well, if we look here, someone claims there are clashes by the Bakhmut Children's Hospital. He claims, I can confirm that Wagner advances and increases the pressure. So, Remy Lind, if you don't know who he is the guy who is my source, who has direct sources from the front line fighting for Wagner. So, we see and can conclude from this, Russian forces are advancing and they are reaching the end game in Bakhmut. They are very close to capturing the citadel area, and every day they're advancing. And I say every day because 15th, 14th, 13th, so the past 3 days, every day. Now, we saw this part as well. It is different color than everyone else, not because it is from today, it is from yesterday. However, I want to talk about this because many of my viewers watch pro-Ukrainian YouTuber reporting from Ukraine. Now, let me tell you this. Who is Deep State Map? Deep State Map is a pro-Ukrainian website that reports on the war in Ukraine, and it is the most factual and reliable pro-Ukrainian source. Their sources are open source intelligence footage and reports from Ukrainian soldiers, so they get as close to the truth as possible. And they are pro-Ukrainian. That means that they have some sort of bias in favor of the Ukrainians. Now, what pro-Ukrainian war in Ukraine, reporting from Ukraine, says? He says that the Russian forces here in this hill, right there, they were encircled and killed. That is what he claims. If we look at this map, this is the latest update by Deep State Map. What do you see here? You see it as a gray zone. Now, if it was formerly red, now it's gray. What does that mean? If a force leaves a location, then there's one of two things that happens. Either they were killed, which is why they don't have control over it, or they retreated. Now, what does reporting from Ukraine claim? He claims that they were encircled and killed. So, if in case they were encircled and killed, that would mean the Ukrainian forces went around and cut them off by the canal. That means they would have control over this area. Do we agree? If the Russian forces were killed, the Ukrainian forces encircled them, then they have control over this area. Now, if you look at this picture, do the Ukrainians have control over this area? If you say anything other than no, then you need to check your brain. Now, what happens if they retreated? It becomes a no man's land. No one has it. The Russians are out, the Ukrainians haven't entered yet. And that is what Deep State Map says. They say the Russians retreated. I got many comments saying, pro-Russian, whatever. The Russians retreated, that is factual. That is their doctrine. I spent an hour looking at Gerasimov's doctrine. He says, if you see the enemy, you retreat. We have artillery, we have ammunition, we have missiles. There's no reason to go head on with the enemy. The Russian forces, they retreat. They do not care about territory. The territory they need is highlands. Klishchiivka has plenty of highlands. This whole area is a Russian highland with fortified positions. What do they need this area that is in danger of encirclement? What do they need it for? They retreat to a better position. Retreating from Klishchiivka, that is when an issue arises. That is when the Ukrainians break through, get a better position and all of these things. But retreating from that position is the right choice. Can I tell you that this is a Russian victory? I cannot. That is not what I'm going to tell you. But I will tell you it is a Ukrainian advance, but it does not have any significance. Comparing that to Ukrainian defenders, you can call them courageous. What they do not retreat. They defend every single block, either to the death or to the point they cannot defend it anymore. That is why Russian advance is slow. Russians retreat, Ukrainian advance fast. Ukrainians do not retreat, Russian advance slow. Whenever the Ukrainians are defending, casualties on both sides significantly increase. When the Ukrainians are attacking, casualties on both sides significantly decrease in comparison to when the Russians attack. So that is the situation, that is my assessment, that is my analysis, that is everything you need to know about the current situation on the front in Ukraine. If you want to see more, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want bonus content, check out my Patreon. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.